Hi everybody, in this video we're going to continue with the GTA-like videos. So in this video what we're going to do is we're going to add to the character animation. We're going to add the walking animation, and we're also going to be able to rotate the camera. So when walking, so if I hit play, currently we could only move forward and back and right and left. And if you see that this character is actually on the ground, it's because I actually removed the animations. You guys should still have the animations if you are following along, but I have removed them, and I'm gonna show you why. We're actually gonna make a blend tree as well in this video, and we're gonna be able to get into a vehicle. So let's just get started real quick. We got a couple things to do. So for the walking animation, I don't have it up already, but just go to your mixer mode, log in, get your walking animation, any walking animation you want. I actually have one already, and if you guys are following along, you should have one as well. But the one that you need if you are following along is going to be a walking animation, but walking backwards. So something like this. Just remember, put in place, hit download, FBX for Unity, and without the skin, and then click download, bring it into your Unity project, put it anywhere you want. Just remember, keep everything organized. It always helps you, especially later when your project gets really huge. So let's just, once you do have it, go to your animator. If you don't have it open, just go to Windows, Animation, Animator. And if you don't see anything, click on Player, and you should see the animation you added earlier. If you are following along, just delete it, and we're gonna add something else. We're gonna create a state from new blend tree. And this blend tree is actually gonna be called movement. So if I click on blend tree, we're gonna name this to movement, and we're gonna click on it, and we get this blend. Now this blend, we're gonna call it velocity Z. So the reason we call it velocity Z is because when this is the velocity in the Z axis, so forward and back. So now this is our blend tree. Now to use this blend tree, we gotta add our motions, or our called the motion field, or our audio clip, or our animation clip. I'm gonna add 3. The first one I'm gonna add, if I can find it, is to be in here. Let me actually just lock it. So here's the backward. Click on the arrow, drag in the actual animation. So here's the backwards. We're gonna do, I think it's this one. Yes, this one's the walking. And then we're gonna do the idle, breathing idle. So it's just gonna be idling. Now where it says automate thresholds, we're gonna check this, and we're gonna change these thresholds to be -1, 0, and 1. So now if we hit play, we could just see that he is idling right here. If I start adjusting this, you should start seeing that he is slowly stepping back. The more I adjust it, the quicker he starts stepping back. Same thing if I move it forward. You can see that he starts taking small steps forward. The more I increase it, faster he will go. And this is how we're going to use our actual blend tree, or animations. So this is 3 pretty much animations into this one little state. So now we could actually check this again if we want, and just leave it like that. There's different blend types, like 2D. There's 2D directional, 2D simple form, or free form. And you could use this for, let's say, if you want to move left and right, back left, back right, all that, you could do that as well. But I'm just going to do it as 1D because it's a little more simple. And we're going to continue onto the actual scripts. So for this movement, we're going to open up our character movement script. We're going to hit edit script, and we're going to add a variable up here called rotation speed. This is going to be the speed that we rotate the actual camera. Player animation, you should have that already. If not, add this player animator, and make sure you call player animator dot equal get component, less than greater sign animator in the parentheses semicolon, if you haven't already, and if you're following along. And then we're just going to continue with our script. So all we're going to have to do is we're going to put player animator, player animator dot set float. So we're going to set a float, which is going to be that blend, that velocity Z. So velocity Z, and make sure you spell it correctly. And we're going to pass in the variable movement direction, or move direction dot Z. So in that Z direction, that Z direction. And that should pretty much be it. If you want to go back, you go back and test it. If we hit play, now you can see he's breathing again. He's not on the floor. If we move forward, he goes forward. If we move back, he goes back. And we could, you know, slow him down with the movement speed if we want. And everything works as expected. Now, as you see, when I move left and right, nothing happens. So what I thought is we could move with the camera instead for our mouse. So the way we would do that is we would put float mouse X. So the reason I put mouse X is because of the X axis, and we're just gonna put input dot get axis, and it's gonna be mouse X. You could also do it like it was telling me right here. So just input dot mouse position dot X. It works the same. And we're gonna put transform. The reason we put transform is because it's this transform, the game object that it's actually sitting on. And we're gonna put rotate, and in parentheses we're gonna put vector3 dot up. Now if we look at dot up, it pretty much just means 0 on the X, 1 on the Y, and 0 on the Z or the Z. And then we're gonna put mouse X multiplied by rotation speed multiplied by time dot delta time, and add a semicolon at the end. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a vector 3. So let me kind of space this out a bit. Vector 3 called movement direction. Yeah, movement direction, and it's gonna be equal to new vector 3 move direction dot X, 0 on the Y, and then move direction dot Z. Close it off with the parentheses, and then we're just gonna put another vector 3, and this is gonna be called movement, and it's gonna be equal to transform dot transform direction. So it's gonna adjust the direction of the transform depending on the move direction. Then we're gonna multiply that by movement speed times time dot delta time. After that, we're just gonna put right here in the character controller, we're gonna put movement instead of move direction. We're just gonna put movement. Let's put this back. Now just save it and go back. Now if everything's working correctly, you should be able to, well, okay. So I guess that other way doesn't work. So input dot mouse position dot X actually does not work. You would actually have to use input dot get axis dot mouse space X for it to work. And just in case you guys don't have it in your guys's input settings or input manager, you could add it. Just right click, you could duplicate array and then add it yourself, or just use one of these duplicates down here and then go to the mouse X. All you gotta do is put 0 on gravity, 0 on dead, 0.1 on sensitivity. You can invert it if you want, or just leave it like that. And then go to mouse movement on the type, axis on the X axis, and then the join number, just put get motion from all joystick. And it should work. If you hit play, you will be able to move your mouse around and just, you know, walk with it. So I decided not to add that side step animation because I think you would be able to move it like this and everything would work perfectly. So now let's try to enter this car right here. So if we go to the car, all I added on this car is I added this mesh collider, which should be on convex, but you don't have to, just the mesh collider right here. And then all I added was this enter car trigger. So remove this, and it is actually a collider and it is set to trigger. And this is where we'll check to see if the player has entered, and if he is entered it, we will be able to enter the car. And if he's not in this area, there's no way he could enter the car. And I also added a camera. So this camera, if we go to it, it's just positioned over the car just to give the illusion that we are inside the car. Now if you had a car that had an interior, you could actually place this camera just straight into the car. For example, something like that, and you know, you could look out the window, something like that. But this one actually doesn't not have an interior. I would like be able to change maybe the field of view or something like that, so you wouldn't be able to see the tires and all that, but we're just gonna leave it like this for now. Later on I'll show you how to do that, make like a first person camera even with something that doesn't have an interior but we're just gonna continue. And in the enter car trigger, we're gonna add a script called enter car. Now the script should not be very complicated. This enter car script is gonna be we're gonna delete all of these. We're gonna delete all of these, and we're gonna put on trigger enter and on trigger stay. Normally you would just need the stay, but the enter is just like a precaution for, like, let's say that the player's in a hurry running from the cops or something, and he tries to enter the car real quick, and he actually clicks on the enter button right as soon as the colliders touch or as soon as they enter. And if you don't have this function, it will not work. So the best thing to do is have both. Now we are gonna have to add a variable, and this variable is gonna be that car camera. So it's just gonna be a camera called car camera, and we're just gonna put here if other dot game object dot compare tag. So if any other game object enters and the tag is equal to player, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put camera dot main. So this is the main camera, the one that the actual player uses. Dot game object dot set active false. So it's just gonna turn it off because we don't need the player's camera, but we are gonna need the car camera, and we're gonna set it to true. We're gonna put car camera dot game object dot set active to true, and then we're gonna put other dot game object dot set active to false. So other is the other game object that has this tag. So in our case, it's gonna be the player. After that, we're just gonna put other dot enabled equals false. That way, just in case, I don't think we need to disable our collider. So you can actually just leave it like that. And all you have to do is copy this, paste it down here, and everything should work. Now we just gotta drag in the car camera and make sure our player has this player tag. If there's not a list of it, it should, because Unity has been putting a list of tags and always includes player, but just in case it doesn't, just click on add tag, click this plus button and name it player or whatever your tag name is, and then just go back and set it. Now when we hit play, actually I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna turn off this camera and I'm gonna hit play. Now when I actually go to my car, so I should have made this guy a little faster. We might add a running function in the next video or something like that. We'll see what we do. And as you've seen, he just went straight in. Now the reason he went straight in is because there is one more thing I forgot to add. So as you've seen, as soon as he entered the collider, he just jumped right in. The way we could fix this is we're gonna add an if statement, and we're gonna add an if statement called input. We're gonna put input.get key down. You could also put any other thing you want, but we're gonna use key code down, and we're gonna put key code space. So, or actually not space, dot I. So if I hit the I button, I actually have to put this inside. So we're gonna put it in here. So if I hit the I button while I'm in the trigger, while I'm entering the trigger, and I hit the I button, then do this. If not, don't worry about it. Same thing down here. If I'm staying in the trigger, if I'm staying in the collider and I click on I, then do this. Now, when I go in there, I shouldn't just automatically jump in. So if I go over here, and I should have made this player quicker. But now when I go over here, and now I don't just automatically teleport, but now if I push I jump in. And usually you would, right here in that part where you push I, you would add an animation of the actual player getting in the car. And if I find a car that you could actually open the door and stuff like that, I might add that in a separate video. But for now, this is pretty much it. We got the player walking front and back and idling with the blend tree. We got him rotating with the mouse. And then we also got him entering a car. So in a later video, I might make, a driving video where he drives the car. I might make, a video of him running quicker when you hold down a button. For example, the shift button. I might add first mission, but whatever you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below. What do you guys want to see next? And yeah, that's it pretty much for this video. Hit that like button if you guys enjoy this video, if you guys learned anything. Hit that subscribe button if you guys want to continue to see more videos like this. And also hit that bell icon if you want to get notified as soon as I post the next video. Once again, thank you guys.